So we're back. Batorn is actually in the session now. So,
That I am.
you all have gotten back into town. And you're making your way down the street. You know that you are coming in from about A1. So now what?
I believe it was suggested to use some of the kind of back roads rather than going through the market center.
Yes, you had discussed potentially traveling up through the refugee section near Hobbiton.
Is everyone okay with that idea?
Yeah, I'm fine with going through Little Town.
Yeah.
Sure.
Alright, so you all venture up and slowly make your way along the road. There's significantly less travel. There is a lot. It's the refugees here are not all just refugees. Some people are just displaced. They're not like broken, poor, look like downtrodden people. But it's still there's still a lot of people who are not as pristine as others. It didn't look like Poor Town, but it just looked like a little rougher area.
Gotcha. Now, is people really taking notice of this, or they just kind of give us a glance and keep going?
Nobody's really paid a lot of attention. I mean, you're traveling in a big group, and you're all on horses, but nobody's really kind of giving you all much of a second look, basically. As you all make your way up and around. So you all have kind of ventured around, and you are now arriving at the cathedral that you all intended to make. You had intended to make your trip to.
Gotcha. Does it look like it's still in well-kept shape? Does it seem like anything's happened lately here?
Not really. No, it's not in bad shape at all.
Okay.
We're rich, bitch.
We're rich. I'm rich, biatch. Honk honk. Chappelle show.
So I guess just make for one of the, maybe not the main entrance, but one of the lesser entrances.
Okay. So you all
Is there-
kind of go ahead.
Is there a place we can at least put hitch our horses up to and stuff?
Sure. There's some grass
sure.
to get around. You can just drop them off at. So you all drop off your horses and then venture around the side entrance.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you enter the cathedral. The cathedral's decent sized. It's not impressive as say some of the other ones are, but it's okay size. Now what?
I don't know what the exact hierarchy is, but would attempt to make the required whatever actions to gain an attendance with one of the higher ups here.
Like, you probably see like the brothers and sisters around, so you probably want to see if you can talk to the father.
Yeah, whatever the high priest is called in this. I think it was called high priest actually.
Yeah. So you want to have that? Okay. You had to make a request for an audience, and with the reason for the request.
Having to do with the prevention and pushing back of the recent heresy declared by the king.
Maybe not mention king, maybe just prevention of Wall Street.
Same thing.
But Glocktor will make mention to the king. We'll apologize to him, but we didn't need our cover blown.
Here we go. People should respect a king. Do those folks not know who I am? They knew they knew who I was. They threw down their arms and let us in immediately.
They would have done something with their arms.
If they knew you were the real king, yes. But
Yeah.
as they know, there's the king that's currently in the castle, and then you, who looks like the king.
They will know soon enough. So while you're going, Ellie, you speak to one of the cardinals, basically, or something like that, and basically you explain that you wish to request an audience because of the recent kind of the declaration, I guess.
Sure.
Okay. They will ask, and you kind of look at you guys. We know of this declaration. What of it? What do you need to see the head priest about then? I mean, we are all aware of this declaration. It's news, but not news to us.
Obviously, we need to make sure that it isn't allowed to spread.
Yes, and we are aware of this.
If you're aware of it. You keep saying you're aware of it, but what are you doing to prevent it from spreading?
He will look over Victoria and goes, "Who are you?"
No one of consequence.
We have information that the High Priest needs to know before any actions are taken. Information which can't be trusted with just anybody.
What sort of information?
Highly strategic information.
Fine. I will speak with the High Priest and inform him. You may or may not be granted an audience. The man is incredibly busy. So, he will run on. What do you all do in the meantime?
Are we alone? Because if we are, Bartorn's gonna mock the guy behind his back.
You're not really alone, no. You're in a chat. You're in a...
Damn it, then Bartorn's not gonna mock the guy behind his back. Unless, of course, you can get away with it without being noticed.
Does that cardinal actually look like he's going more towards to get him, or does it seem like he's heading for an exit?
It looks like he's going to get him.
Okay.
Or going to speak to him. You don't...
Okay,
assume.
okay.
At least you assume that based on the direction he is traveling. So as you all stand there, some time passes. Eventually, you see the man come back. He will look at Ellie and go, "You're granted an audience. You will have 5 minutes, no more."
Plenty of time. She'll start walking, I guess, towards where she would be expected.
Yes.
Motioning for the group to follow.
Bartorn follows suit.
I guess it does.
All right. So you all wander up, and you're led into a room. You see an older man sitting behind a desk. He's fairly advanced in age. He is arrayed in a rather elaborate set of robes and sashes with different ornate inscriptions on them and so forth. And he is sitting in front of a big book and several manuscripts and stuff like that. And he would go, "I have been willing to grant you 5 minutes. Understand that I have an incredible business to work, and we are very busy around here. So, what is this grand piece of information you have to share?"
As I imagine the recent decree does not sit well with the church, and your work has something to do with that, perhaps?
But of course.
What I bring is information that the decree is invalid.
Is that so? And how is that?
Because it was not spoken by the king.
She goes, do I look like a fool to you?
You're going to have to be more specific.
So hard not to answer that question.
You're going to have to be more specific about the intentions of your words, sir.
If it wasn't the king, then who was it? Because last I checked, the king stood on the side of the capital, of the castle, and decreed that before everybody, and then signed the decree and sent it out.
Yeah, but that was...
But he is an imposter.
And you can prove this how?
Well, because the king is standing before you. She kind of just steps to the side, looking at the man who we have brought with us.
You bring me a homeless man with a bandage on his head and declare him king.
She'll Your Majesty, if you would like to make yourself known.
And then he will remove the bandage and proclaim himself, yes, I am the king. You would do well to remember this factor. The man you see was an impostor, taking up my identity after I had been captured. You have every right to follow me, not him. It is my decree that his decrees are all invalid.
We've also found evidence that the signet ring of the capital has been forged.
Oh? Do you have the original?
Quite the opposite, we have the forging material.
And this proves somebody potentially had the opportunity to forge it. They could have forged it. They may not have. They may have planted that evidence. You may have made that evidence. You are speaking as if what you're saying is guaranteed. Fine. Let's say I believe you. Let's say what you're saying is completely true. What does that change? The man before me...
Besides the obvious fact that you have an imposter as a king?
He will look over at Batoran speaking and just kind of like motion for him to be quiet. And
Batoran's like, dude, you asked.
He will look back at it and goes, and assuming it is all true. He will come over to the king and goes, my lord, I did not see your signet ring or anything else that defies you as the king. I see no proof of any of this. You say you have the forger's kit, so be it. A forger's kit does not prove a forgery, it only proves the tools necessary to make one. The man before us looks like a disheveled homeless man. And assuming it is all true, what is your plan? To ride in there and tell the person who has the ring and the sword and sits on the throne and looks exactly like the king that he is not the king? What is your plan, other than to be tried for treason and executed?
I mean, not really.
He looks back at the king and looks at Ellie and like is waiting for a response.
There are others who also know of this conspiracy that we have talked to, and I make mention of the mavises.
You've convinced the Mavises of such a fact.
The Mavises wanted proof. They have seen, and I will talk about the signet and the ring, and then the papers. Oh, I guess we didn't show them the papers, did we?
No,
I don't recall.
you did not. You kept the papers hidden.
Yeah, we'll give the.
Probably because they were acting very sketchy, much like this guy, like everybody else.
Says the person who has circumstantial proof at best while trying to overthrow the king, supposedly.
So we'll show the.
I mean, we're not a
The
great
high priest.
Hawkeyan. We're not a great Hawkeyan church. We don't really give a shit about them.
Yeah, but having everybody murdered for treason is also a problem, though. There's that.
I mean,
I
I'm
got
with you,
nothing.
Seven, with that reaction.
I mean, I know your backstory and all, but so you hand him over the papers, huh?
Right.
He would kind of look over them and skim them for a minute and kind of conjure them. Fine. But you still have not given me any idea of a plan. What is your plan?
Well, the Mavises have the ability to gain audience with the king and his closest advisors. If we could make it our way into the castle with them, with the rightful king with us, their magic of the doppelganger or copy may even fade or weaken.
And if it doesn't, and when you're declared a treasonous act to the king, what do you do then? It sounds great to die a martyr. But dying a martyr doesn't
Except I
get you.
don't plan on dying.
It seems correct. But again, I don't understand how you intend to succeed.
Wait. Doctor leans over to the king. Your sword, and with the sword only, I don't know how his sword works, but I'm figuring it's kind of attuned to him, and it could not or wouldn't attune to another person. That would be a great way to prove that you are the true king, right?
The doppelganger should not be able to use the weapon, but based on the magic, I assume he cannot, but I don't know. It sounds
At this
like you
point,
should.
Bartola leans over. It's like, well, when I was skulking around the throne room, he had it sitting next to the throne, but he wasn't actively using it.
Well,
I would have made a grab for it, but too many guards around.
Well, of course he wouldn't be using it. He's in the throne room.
I meant like he didn't have it on his person. Like just sitting there next to the throne.
And what king would not keep his sword on his person?
A king who sits for 10 hours answering people's problems. They get rather cumbersome and in the way. But again, I don't even know if his magic will allow him to use the sword or not. You say he looks like me, he sounds like me. The only thing he doesn't do is act like me. The high priest will look over at you and goes, "Fine. We believe you. What do we do then? What do you want of us then?" If you have the Mavises, how come you didn't charge the castle now?
We just made it into town. We needed a safe place, and we knew you your church despises Wastry. We knew this would be a very friendly and safe place to come.
But if you are friends with the Mavises, how come you do not return to them immediately and then march straight from there to the castle?
The Mavises live in Hightown. You know, as soon as we step foot into Hightown with what looks to be a beggar, people would question.
So you came for clothing? A shave? Like, I still am confused as to what we can do. Like, what do you need of us then? You all seem to have the plan.
Can we leave the king here until we go to the Mavises? Or 2 or 3 of us go to the Mavises and come back?
The king will look at you. He goes, I don't believe me being separated would be a good idea.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with His Majesty. I'm not one moment to agree with I'm just about to like, no, he just leaves it out. I'm inclined to agree with His Majesty and just leaves it at that.
Alright, so anyone else have any ideas?
I mean, unfortunately, I don't have a disguise kit with which we can use to disguise His Majesty.
The Hybrid goes, you could potentially stay here till nightfall. Then you may be able to sneak to the Mavises under the cover of darkness. It's not a foolproof plan, but it is a plan to get you into their home. From there,
I mean, the darkness is my friend.
Could we at least have a pair of priest garments for the king? That would be less conspicuous walking through Hightown than at what he wears now.
yes, we could get him a pair of priestly robes. They would not be particularly fancy robes, but priest robes nonetheless.
And
Also, might suggest a shave.
I was going to say, could he also clean up?
Yes, my private bathroom. He will look at Ellie and goes, what else can we do? We are not a fighting force. We are not a group who is going to march to the cathedral. What are we supposed to do here?
My understanding is they're rather militant.
You would remember at this point, no. They become militant over time as...
Oh, no, we're still... Shar is a strong kingdom yet. I'm not entirely sure what the church may offer, although I suppose that may just depend on whether or not our plan moves forward successfully.
What would you like for the church to offer? Like, ask them what you want. Like, come out and tell him specifically. He's looking at you, asking you...
I mean, our original thing was looking for somewhere that the king could lay low and not be found while we were figuring out other stuff, which seems to have just been kind of dealt with for at least a short period.
The king seems to be that separating from the party may not be the best option, as he'll explain that it is untelling what agents might be around for the false king.
In other words, keeping the people who know his existence is a thing to as minimal people as possible is probably the best in the long run until we get the imposter out and reinstall the true king. You know, classic switch swap. Except it's a reverse switch swap.
I have no idea. Like, it just seemed like a safe place we might be able to find some allies, but they are extremely hands-off, it appears.
Bartor mutters to himself in Elvish. Church is fucking useless.
Ellie would mutter back in Elvish, watch your fucking tongue.
Bartor switches to thieves' cant.
The high priest will answer in common, do not use that language in my chamber.
Fucking elves. Alright, so I guess we're just here to harass them and get some robes. That's what it seems to be.
Probably some healing would be good as well. Unless we're all healed up still.
Well, it did take us a day or two to get back here, didn't it, Markso?
Yeah, but y'all didn't really get it. Like, y'all walk back, yeah.
Alright, cool.
So we'd have our long rest if you're willing to hit that with us.
Yeah, I'll give you a long rest on that one.
Cool.
Woo! Whoop. Didn't seem to work fine.
Yeah, you got your long rest, just like a base. Oh, I know why.
Didn't seem to bring back all the hit dice.
It should.
Because I'm seeing 1 and 2 here instead of 1 and 4.
Alright, so the king will wander into the high priestess chamber and clean. He will have a shave. He will come back with cut hair. And he walks back out, and now he looks like the king in priest robes.
Okay.
Now what do y'all do?
So do y'all just want to go to the Mavises then?
Sure.
Good to me.
See if they'll help. Then I guess if that's the course, then I'll thank the high priest for his time and the assistance, and hope that we can get this straightened out swiftly before Wash regains any power within the city.
Okay.
And I suppose we're on the road again.
It has transitioned into darkness.
Cool. Huh.
Did we pass anything interesting on the road? Do we see anything interesting going on? I know we've been gone a few days. Like, has anything changed that we're noticing?
As you all walk up, you're headed towards Memphis. You do see where they have dug the square to put the plinth for the giant statue. And
How
it is
close?
massive.
How close do we pass by it?
As you all are passing on the main road? Y'all walk right past it.
I spit on it.
I guess it's going to be where H4 is going to be.
It is. It is 25 feet wide by 35 feet deep. And the plinth sits up about 4 feet high above the ground.
Is there anybody around?
Not that you've noticed. It's pretty peaceful. I mean,
Can
it's
I make a perception? Because Bartorn. So what's this plinth look like again? It's the plinth of what? Wastry?
it's a plinth is a giant square. It's
Oh.
a giant piece of like stone concrete, basically. It's like
Alright, so he's gonna turn to Ellie. It's like, why'd you spit on the plinth?
Because it's foul.
What makes it foul?
Its purpose.
And what is its purpose? It has to do with Wastry, I assume?
The statue is iconizing a word? Could be. So, let's go with it. Be the icon of that foul creature.
Wastry, right?
Indeed.
Did it make you feel a little bit better to spit on it?
Only slightly. I feel much better just to prevent its being erected at all.
Any way we can assist with making it not happen anymore to a degree? Like sabotage some stuff on it?
By throwing out the imposter king and bringing back the rightful one, even though he may not be Jazdan. He doesn't support Wastry, that's for sure.
Fair enough. Alright, so there's nobody around Marxo?
You haven't seen anybody now.
Can I make a perception check to see? Because Barton's gonna take a whiz on this thing. Marxo?
You didn't see anybody around.
Alright, so Barton's like, alright, Ellie, wait right here 1 second. Barton's gonna walk up to the plinth, make sure no one's around, just let it rip, just piss on the plinth. It's like, fuck you to Wastry. Alright, he's gonna finish up and walk back to the party.
Okay. So you
That
all
felt good.
continue walking on and arrive at the mavises.
It's not late enough that the Mavises would be in bed, would it?
It is very late at night. I mean, extremely late because it's dark. Like y'all stayed
Gotcha.
till it got dark.
So, I guess his house guard would be out front. Would they recognize us still?
They do.
All right. We will ask one of them that we are seeking audience with Lord Mavis is quite urgent and important.
This evening, as of now, you need to speak to them.
Yes, it is of grave importance. On the level of how important it was to find his daughter. And I don't say that lightly.
Very well. I will inform Lord Mavis. Come inside. And he invites you to stand in the lobby. He will. You see Lord after a few minutes. You see Lord Mavis come back. In his robe, he comes back down and goes, adventurers. And you have been escorted, by the way, into a side chamber, alone. And he goes, he will look over to the king. Goes, my lord, I see that you have returned. You seem in rather rough shape since I last saw you. The king will nod and goes, I have been in better conditions, Lord Mavis. These heroes you sent out to retrieve me have done a good job. And Lord Mavis will look at you and goes, "You've done well. Now what do we do?"
Well, now we get the imposter king out and the real king in. Then we go from there.
I'm assuming you have some sort of plan for this.
I mean, if it was up to me, I'd sneak into the castle in the middle of the night, drag him out, replace the real king, and kill the imposter. But unfortunately, it's not up to me.
Generally, when I've participated in overthrowing castles, we have an army with us.
Army, good. Diversion. I like that. Unless we tend to sneak in, kill him, and real king replaced. Unless is killing off the table?
Well, I don't exactly have any army here with me now, do I?
No.
Are you saying we storm the castle?
I think that's what he's saying. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that's what we would normally do if we had an army.
We don't have an army, so we need to improvise.
Okay.
If
I know, Niasak, you guys have any ideas you like to throw out?
Did we lose Saki in? I think he's been quiet.
I'm here.
Okay.
I've just been thinking pretty much.
One of the ideas I have is we need to make our way into the castle, and either find some of the king's advisors that would know something very personal of the king that only the king would know, and or get him close enough to said sword and see if it only reacts to his touch, proving that he is the king.
he's got the touch.
He's got the
He's got
power.
the power.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to that song now.
Problem with the imposter king is that he has a lot of popular support, though, so that might be a problem.
Right,
And
but
we're
if
not
you,
trying to sway an election, we're trying to throw him out.
Yeah.
we're just proving that he's not the true king. Popular support or no, we could, like I was saying, we could use the Mavises to gain a audience into the castle. So that's our infiltration. Once inside, there's ways for our sneaky members to disappear.
Yep.
Also do a face-to-face confrontation with Imposter King and Real King.
Right. Yes, there will be guards, but the reaction of that king, well, they would know we have the rightful king by now. So we have to make plans for their plans.
Worry about that meme I posted being a problem, too.
Yep.
Yeah. True.
Mm-hmm.
The Mavis look at you. Goes, we must come up with some sort of plan. Walking in and just going, "We have the king," is probably not the answer. My house guard could go with me. get inside, but once inside, what do we do?
Didn't mean to hit that.
We die?
We die.
Remember, so Lucas goes, death is not what I wanted.
No. Bartorn walks up behind Sam and just gives slaps him upside the head. No death. That's bad. We don't want to die. I mean, well, death, yes, but not us.
Again, I can, on our way in, I could cast invisibility on our two stealthy guys, let them start stealthing around as we're inside. It relies a lot on our skill monkeys to actually roll well to get said items and or be placed up in the right spot.
True. I didn't have much issues the last time I was in there. Had a few close calls, but I managed to make it out just by the skin of my teeth.
Right, but that's when they wasn't expecting us. This time they are expecting us. Most
True.
likely.
Maybe. Who knows? We'll find out when we get there.
I do ask the king, is there anyone in the castle that would recognize you even right away as being the true king?
In what way? I mean, you say this
Just like
king.
I mean, does he have a wife, a child, or something that would
No.
could tell a difference in it?
He is not married and has no children.
All right. Is there
No
his
heirs.
closest advisor, or general that was his best friend that would only know a certain life story that maybe the imposter would not know of?
Childhood friend that did you grow up with in the castle, maybe?
Depending on what method they're making the imposter appear like the king, it could be a potential target to attack that instead. Reveal him.
The king looks and goes, I don't know. I don't know what this imposter knows. I don't know what he knows about me. I don't know how he is. You say that everybody follows him. Everybody believes he is who he is. Without seeing this king, I can't tell you what I know differently than he does. Clearly, my advisors are following him, it seems.
Well, we could always just sneak into his bedchamber and oust him that way.
Bartorn's eyes immediately light up like, yes!
When you don't have an army for a frontal siege, there's always assassination.
But I can whip up a vial of poison. Paralyzed poison.
Or perhaps we'll be able to catch him with his face off and reveal him for who he truly is.
We can do both. We can catch him with his face off, paralyze him, and drag him out.
Now, out of game, this guy could either just have the spell disguise self on him. He could be a doppelganger. There's a lot of different things that this clone could be.
That's why I was saying, depending on the method they're using, we could attempt to attack that instead. If we can prove that he's a false, then that's just as good as proving that this king is the true one.
I do worry about his popular support. They might support him regardless of being exposed, because this false king is helping out the populace quite a bit.
Yeah, but everybody knows the rich are in control.
Well, Lord Mavis is not very happy with the whole giving out gold thing, correct?
He had strong opinions against it.
Right. If Mavis can talk the other lords around, maybe not letting them know that we have, the true king, that thing, but a large meeting of the minds to voice their opinions.
I mean, none of that even matters if we take care of it inside the castle. Then it just becomes a matter of figuring out how to smooth everything over on the outside from within. Like, nobody
Right.
even needs to know it happened. Like, the popular vote doesn't matter if the people don't know.
Exactly.
If anything, maybe the popular support will just transfer over to this guy.
There you go.
I don't know. They've been given a lot of money, so
Right, it's already been given to them. As long as it's not taken back, they'll still end up seen as a positive.
Right? I mean, everybody loves getting money.
yes, but
It's when it gets taken away that's the problem.
they might want to keep that money train going though, so they might support
It's
this
not really
false
their
king.
choice. Well, they don't
Yeah,
know
that's not
there's a
their
false
choice.
one. That's the whole point. Why would we oust them to like a public mob when we can just take care of it in the back rooms and put the real king back in?
Okay.
'Cause it seems like trying to make theatrical presentation out of it is part of the biggest difficulty we're having because we have no way to like hold back an army.
I'm all for subterfuge.
Lord
I'm
May,
all for
the king,
killing.
the king will look at you. And goes, there is not an army inside the castle. There is
Well,
a group of guards, not an army.
How
it
many
may as
guards?
well be an army when you don't have one yourself.
The king will look over at Lord Mavis and goes, define army.
Are you suggesting that a noble of your city has a contingent that could rival the royal guards? I would not let that information out.
I mean,
Lord Mavis will
depends
look at you
on
and
the
goes,
scenario. For example, right now, it's very, very useful.
Lord Mavis will look at you and the king and Lord Mavis will look at you and goes, rivaling the guards in the castle is not exactly how I would define it. But there is enough to inside to potentially, if some choose to support the claim, to potentially be sufficient to withstand an attack.
Huh?
Most of the
The
castles.
only thing I can think of is, well, if we do your guys' plan, worst comes to worst is you get found out and we have to go into siege mode.
The Mavis will look at you and goes, but we are not strong enough to siege a castle.
From the outside, yes, but from the inside,
Itchy. I mean, I'm all for the sneaking in and killing him. Anybody else got any ideas?
Suppose we cause some kind of diversion to draw the guards away.
Yeah, you cause diversion, draw the guards out. Me and Salem here, Pat Salem said we sneak in, nix the king, well, the king, air quotes, sorry, not you, Your Majesty, the fake king, and then we somehow get his body out without anybody noticing, and then we install you. or get in there and get the sword, get out and give the sword to you. Or get in there, kill him, get the sword, get out, get the sword to you.
For
Two out
distraction,
of three plans. 2 out of 3 plans involve killing that guy.
are there any large sources of flammable liquid around?
Define large sources. Like, how large are we talking?
Combustible liquor?
Like fuel, it could be like lantern oil, that kind of stuff. I guess liquor if it's a thing in this setting. Like I'm talking like barrels of it, like a warehouse full of them.
And you could probably get some barrels of liquor from the taverns, a few here and there.
Well, I'm also talking about like lantern oil and other stuff like that. If there's like a warehouse of it somewhere.
No, there's not a giant warehouse of lantern oil.
Hmm.
I mean, you could get a couple barrels maybe worth of it, but not a ton, no.
Yeah, I'm kind of kicking ideas out. Because fire always draws some guards away.
Why don't we get someone to place a rune of warding somewhere and trigger it? With a
Funny
command.
you say that. I had an idea of what place to set on fire.
But what?
Would it
Why
be
would
a
the
s-
guards from the castle go all the way down there?
Need a big enough fire.
Set a portion of the town on fire.
Collateral damage.
Yeah,
Um,
minimal, like surface damage.
I'm sure the king would not like his town on fire.
The king is sitting here listening to you all discuss this, and the idea of burning the town down does not seem to be appealing to his thought process.
We never said burn
Well-
the town down.
He's only 1 vote and we're 5, so
Yeah.
You gotta cook the omelet to make it good.
Gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet.
You also gotta cook it.
That too.
Uh-huh.
I mean, minimal surface damage. Magical fire. Illusionary fire. Can we do that? We can do that. Can we do that?
I can do a minor illusion.
But how
Which
big
means
of
it
a
fits in
minor
the palm of
illusion-
your hand. So basically, you basically set your hand on fire.
There you go. Set your hand on fire and I'm saying, my hand is on fire. My hand is on fire. My hand is on fire. That probably won't
must
get
be
much
no
attention, but it'll be
larger.
hilarious.
To create an image of an object, it must be no larger than a 5-foot cube. Can't create sound, light, smell, or any other sensory effect.
You can or cannot.
Can't.
Damn.
I could technically make a sound of a big explosion.
True. Question is, though, do you think they'd go running to look for it?
I have no idea.
We can, like I said, we can just make our way into the castle with Mavis. Like, that's a free way in.
I'm okay with that idea too, as long as we get in the castle some way, close enough to either the sword or the fake king, so we can.
Let me say, I am certain I can get you inside.
Can you get us inside, my friend, and we'll do the rest.
It's just what we want to do once we're inside. That's what we need to figure out. Again, we also have a good reason. We need to make sure we have a good reason for a audience with the king.
I can get us an audience with the king. No worries on that. It's what do we do once we have the audience?
About how many? Wouldn't you guys have your meetings? On average, how many guards tend to be in the room?
Uh, the king will look. It depends. There's 8, maybe a dozen.
Hmm.
And hypothetical, if you were sitting in a room and you had a man stand up who looked just like the king, declare the king that's sitting there as the false king, what would you do?
If somebody walked up and said, "I am king," I would have him arrested for treason.
Correct. But as the real king, what would you do to prove that you're the real king? If you were sitting in there, if you had someone come in and make that false statement.
As I'm sitting there?
Correct. If you were in the other man's shoes and a man came in and claimed to be king and that you were the false king, what would you do to prove that you were the king?
I would show my signet ring and prove that I am king.
That they have a fake signet ring. Whatever happened to the real signet ring?
Well, it's not on our king's hand, so we would probably say he would have the real signet ring.
If I had to guess, the false king has the real one, and they made copies so they could send out missives from another location.
That's what I would do. You know, if I was
But-
pretending to be a king and wanted to do something like that, try to rule a kingdom from.
And the king
afar.
is a warrior king, right?
Very much so, yes.
Would you not try to lop
Challenge
off
him to a duel?
would you not lop off the imposer's head? To be that bold to say it to your face, would that not anger you? Would that not make you want to strike him down?
I have people to do that for me. I need not bloody my hands.
And we still have that mold, the signet ring, to make another one if we wanted to.
Yeah, true. We can make a fake signet ring and show it as proof that he has the real signet ring. Try to force the false king to confirm that that is a fake ring. It's like, how would you know it's a fake ring? How would you prove it? Or something.
Wait, again, is do you know of any hidden passages through the castle that could get us access to certain areas?
I know of many hidden passages. There are plenty for escape and so forth if the castle was to come under siege.
I wonder, would that give Bartorn ample amount of time to get somewhere and get the sword? I figured one of the passages would be to your bedchambers, right?
There's an idea.
Sure.
Get me close enough to the king's chamber so I can get in there, steal the sword, and get the fuck out. Have Salem come as backup.
Sounds good. We might get a tight spot.
True. Plus, you're pretty handy in a fight. For your diminutive size.
And if it comes down to brass tacks, I can take off my robe and pass as a big house cat too.
Yeah, but then they'd be wondering why there's a house cat in a secret passage.
Mice?
Good point. But then they'd be wondering how he got into the secret passage in the first place.
And why he's strapped with adventuring gear.
Exactly. So I say, screw the rules. Let's go inside the secret passage, steal the sword, and get the sword back to the king.
Now, King, do you tend to always have a daily routine of, say, when you bathe, or stuff when you would actually be in your quarters?
I don't know what this imposter does. I have no idea.
Let's just say he wanted to try and stay on your normal schedule, not make it too obvious that
I am king. I do as I please.
Fair enough, makes sense.
I mean, I know it's close to 10, so I know you're not going to go in. So, I guess we have all week to brainstorm more ideas.
I mean, we have a few ideas. Go in there, middle of the night. I whip up a few vials of poison. Before I deliver the killing blow or the paralyzing blow, I coat my blade with the paralyzing poison, stab the king in the shoulder while also covering his hand, pull him out with the sword in tow, and we deal with him while installing the rightful king. That's an idea. It still involves killing the other guys. That's 3 out of 4 plans I've come up with that involve killing the imposter king. I'm on a roll with this.
Well, I don't think we're going to have time to execute the plan tonight.
Nope. But I would like to whip up some vials of paralyzing poison, though. Paralytic poison with my poisonous kit.
That's fine.
Unless we spontaneously come up with a really quick plan somehow.
Yeah, about that.
I could fireball a door down.
There's always that.
It's true.
Let's just invent nuclear fission, build a hydrogen bomb, and nuke the castle.
I'm sure the
win.
fallout from that won't be a problem.
Oh, definitely not.
Depends
We'll
on
just
what.
get some shambling mounds, let them hang around here. They'll get all the radiation soaked up.
It just depends on what campaign setting you want it to become afterwards.
Mm-hmm. So we're going for a Dark Sun campaign after this, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Or after the big explosion, everything goes dark, and you wake up and you're on the back of the wagon, and it says, "Oh,
We're
you're
going to
finally
Helgen.
awake."
Oh God, no.
You are trying to cross the border.
Damn it, Georgie.
Walked right into that Arstotzkan ambush.
All right. So you all have a week to determine your plan, come what you're gonna do, and then we will execute that plan for good or worse, or good or bad, next week. So that is the end of this session.
Sounds good.